we have a very beautiful event going on today, and I just wanted to see what, Hispanics' core traditional values are. So are you Hispanic?
Yeah.
So would you say for you, what are your core traditional values as a young Latina woman?
I mean, it's really important to me because it's underrated and, it's unappreciated and it's, really beautiful and, I think people need to, embrace their culture more.
I mean, I'm Hispanic, Spaniard, and I was researching, what are honestly, statistically are the majority of the most core values for Hispanics. And what I found was the top 3 were God, family, and life. And I'm kind of doing a story today, kind of relating, our Hispanic core traditional values with the modern day Democrat Party. And the number 1 is God. And I don't know if you know this, but 77% of Latinos or Hispanics identify as either Catholic or Christian, and 70% of Hispanics or Latinos identify with a standard of moral right and wrong. So that's kind of statistically speaking, our whole culture believes in God almost and believes in a standard of right and wrong. And I just wanted to kind of educate the public today on God. What are your views on God?
I mean, my family is really religious, so when it comes to Christmas or anything like that, we sing around the house. Everything's traditional. We're all based on how my grandpa is, so it's everything about God and then your culture embrace God, and it's just yeah.
Got it. So I just wanted to give you a few facts. And kind of compare it to the modern day Democrat Party. In the 1960s, the Democrats actually voted in the United States justice system where they voted actually to not have Bible teachings, mandatory Bible teachings and mandatory prayers in public system schools. They actually had a vote on that, and in the 1960s, they voted it out. They voted so they shouldn't have Bible teachings or mandatory prayers in the 1960s, and the majority of those that voted to take God out of that were actually Democrats. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. I think you should just leave people alone when it comes to the religion, because it's they do have the freedom to believe in what they have. It's freedom of speech and everything like that. I think it's all based on that. So, yeah. And
what's interesting as well is even up until now, 2019, Democrats are advocating to take away congressional oaths. The traditional oath where you say oh, I swear to tell the truth, only but the truth, so help me God. They want to remove that, so help me God, out of the congressional testimonies of witnesses. So it just seems like the Democrats have this beef with God and anything, and it's kind of strange because I don't believe that lines up with our traditional Hispanic core values. I'll give you another one. I mean, if we have Hispanics identify as Christians or identify as Catholics, God is very clear in the Bible that God is pro-life. And a number 1 huge advocacy of the Democrat Party is that they're pro-choice and they support abortion. And that kind of goes against our traditional Hispanic views of God because God is pro-life. I don't know if you know this, but as of 2019, the Democrat Party literally legalized in New York. A woman in New York could literally have an abortion at 9 months. And also, she can have the baby terminated even after the baby's born for whatever reason she wants. And that was legalized in New York, and other states are following suit. And that's a Democrat policy and a Democrat law. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think that's wrong, especially because of how I was taught, being raised. Everything's well, you have to stick to what you did, So it's that's a responsibility that you're taking, and the fact that it's already past due 9 months, that's a long time. So I don't know. I think that's taking a life away, because it's already it's not a little seed anymore, how it says or anything like that. It's a human. It's a person.
Yeah, and what's interesting is in February there was actually a counter vote to put an end to that. Republicans put in a system of law that would actually stop a mother from killing her baby at 9 months or even after the baby's born, and a vote took place, and Democrats actually voted against it. So they want women to be able to choose to abort their babies at 9 months or even after they're born. And here's what's interesting. 4 of the candidates running for president of the United States in 2020 are Democrats that voted for that. Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, Cam Harris, and Elizabeth Warren all voted for women to have the choice to kill their babies, and they're running for the president of the United States of 2020. What do you think about that? And they're all Democrats.
Honestly, I think it's wrong to do that, but I am religious, and everyone has the right to say what they say, But if they truly cared, then they would see it as not just like a woman aborting a baby. They would just see it as somebody killing somebody else, which is that's not a good thing. So
yeah. So lastly, I'll end right here. Thank you for talking with me. So lastly, this abortion issue comes down to the Hispanic family, and I just want to share with you why I believe that. I don't know if you know who the founder of Planned Parenthood was, but it was this woman by the name of Margaret Sanger, and she was an openly public racist. She was an openly public eugenicist. She believed in the sterilization of minorities, poor people, and even mentally retarded people. She believed that they shouldn't exist, that we should put an end to minorities, that we should put an end to poor people, and put an end to mentally retarded people or disabled people from having babies. That was the beginning agenda of Planned Parenthood. It wasn't about giving women a choice if they came into a problem to have a baby. Their agenda was to put a stop to minorities of having babies. And even up until this point, she was inspired by a lot of famous eugenicists that believed in racism. All of that was tied into the founding of Planned Parenthood. And so that was kind of like the origins of Planned Parenthood. And I don't know if you know this, but it's documented that there are a lot of documents of Planned Parenthood strategically identifying and placing their clinics in highly populated minority places where there are black people, where there are Mexican people, where there are Hispanic people, for that reason. And that's documented. That's a fact. They put clinics in these highly populated minority places because they wanted to put an end and sterilize minorities from continuing to having babies. So this is the origin of Planned Parenthood. There's a lot more I could say about that, but my personal opinion, I believe that's an attack on the Hispanic families to put an end to a Hispanic baby being born because you don't want them to procreate, or you think they shouldn't have a life and they'll just be poor people. That's absolutely wrong, and that's the origins of Planned Parenthood. And even up to this day, I don't know if you know this, I know this is a lot of information, but one of the biggest clinics in the United States of America for Planned Parenthood is in Houston, Texas. And it's in one of the most highly populated Hispanic populations in Texas, in Houston. And it's on record that they strategically target minority populations to sterilize them. What do you think about all that? Do you think that, and the majority of the people that support Planned Parenthood are Democrats. What do you think about all that?
Well, I mean, I think it's very stereotypical, especially for Hispanic people or like poor people or anything like that, because not only like should like middle class or like high class, they're not the only ones who should like give birth. They're not the only ones who should like be able to like live the way they do. I think everyone should be like live the way they do, because in the end we're all in the same place. We're all on earth and we're all human beings. So I don't think anyone should be seen as different or like treated different, especially saying like taking a life away from that. Like I don't think that's right at all.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it's interesting that the modern day Democrat Party today is anti-God, which is against our Hispanic traditional core views, is obviously anti-life and is pro-choice, which is against our Christian Hispanic traditional views, and is against the Hispanic family because it's documented that Planned Parenthood targets minorities to sterilize them from reproducing, and the Democrat Party is the party of pro-choice and backs Planned Parenthood. Even Hillary Clinton came out and said that she looks up to Margaret Sanger and really shares the same vision she had, which includes eugenics and the sterilization of minorities. So does this kind of change your mind about the Democrat Party, and do you kind of think twice now about supporting them?
Yeah, definitely do, because in a way, not only are they special, like they think they're higher, because obviously they're Democrats, but like especially like for the ones who are like running, they see themselves as like someone who will just gain power, and they don't see that they're affecting other people's life. They just want what's good for their point of view. Like they have a how do I say this? They have like they have a way, like they want to be seen. They have a reputation that they don't want to ruin, and it's like everything's quiet. Like I didn't know all the facts that you told me because everything's quiet. They don't say anything about that when they mention like what they're running for. They don't mention who they look up to. Like Hillary Clinton never said anything about that.
She said it, you just didn't hear it in the news.
Exactly. Everyone keeps it quiet. Like I just think that needs to be like seen more instead of like the things that they're trying to do.
Yeah. So hey, thank you for talking with me.
You're welcome.
Would you say that your mind was changed a little bit today?
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, well, have a great day. I'll see you.